Hey everybody, so same night, which is the very early morning of May 15th, very late night of May 14th. And I have decided to knock out multiple topics because y'all, when I say, okay, I want to get this out of the way. So, during my break, if you want to call it that, it was about a 10-day period or so. Okay, so I have been bubbling with creativity, right? But then I would forget to talk about I would forget, yeah, I guess you could say, to talk about stuff, whatever, that I really wanted to talk about, or just, as I mentioned, I put a lot of voice memos with show idea. Well, I say show ideas, because sometimes I still talk as if I'm on this old endeavor that I was a part of a long time ago, but let's just say video ideas. And anyway, they'll get buried in all these memos that I have. And so, I had started to feel kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm running out of juice. And the main thing that I have felt like I need to talk about is, of course, my weight loss journey. So I guess I'm going to do that here. And then I'm going to get into another topic. Okay. So if you're only here for that, I do apologize. But to me, it doesn't make any sense to give this little short info only to them. Well, whatever. Anyway, so today I came in at 298.5. My that puts me at 1.5 up from my lowest, which was 297 flat. My current goal is 289.9, which will be followed by a visit to Landry's to get some stuffed jalapeno peppers and some coconut shrimp. Okay. Yes, ma'am. And I don't give a who has a problem with it. Okay. That is something I am treating myself to when I get down to 289. Okay. Which is going to quickly push me up to 293 or 294. And I don't give up. Okay. Anyway, no, but seriously. So yeah, it'll come off. But I want to do that. That's my plan. I know they say oh, don't reward yourself with food. I absolutely am rewarding myself with food. And again, I don't care who got a problem with it. Okay. Focus on your own body. Now, in other news, yeah, so the 289.9 is my next goal. I am less than 10 pounds away. Something like that. Right. Okay. And anyway, my sleeping has been all screwed up. I am going to try to get some sleep in a couple hours or so. My daughter's sleeping hours just got right tonight, and so I'm going to try to get mine together. So we're going to stay in the next few hours, but I have some material bubbling inside of me, and so I want to record this. But what I came to recently is to start I've been using MyFitnessPal. I haven't tracked the best in the past 24 hours, but I do want to, for one, go down to 1,800 calories a day. I've been doing 10,000 steps a day since the beginning of April. I've been doing 10,000 steps a day. And I've only missed out if you add up all the days that I've missed out on in the past 6-ish weeks, it's been maybe a week. Okay, where I fell short of the 10,000 steps a day. So I am extremely proud of myself that I have done that. And I actually think that that is a huge part of why I have managed to stay overwhelmingly through the past couple of months or so under, close to a couple months, maybe, whatever, under 300 pounds. Now, I did have a binge eating incident on May 2nd. I think it was hormone related because that's usually the case. And it was just that one time where I binged and I got back on track pretty quickly, but yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I did the 1,800 calorie thing for maybe the past, or not past, but, let's say within the last week, maybe 2 days of the last week or so. And then I have gone well over that. I mean, not again, not binge, but just over that. Sorry, you guys. You know, I'm not wearing a filter because you don't see any lips on my hand. Anyway. But, no, I was going to say, so yeah, that's what's been going on with my weight loss journey. I am going to, you know, dedicate myself more to my process though over these coming days, trust me, and I will keep you guys posted on that. But anyway, now let's get into the political bullshit. So I did a video on interracial dating and I think I deleted it. But I was going into like my history with it, how I felt about it, so on and so forth. And this is more talking about from a Black woman's standpoint, dating interracially, more so than interracial dating overall with everybody, you know what I mean? But I support it for everybody, not just Black women, for everybody. I support it, okay? We're all humans. You know, the absurdity when people say like, oh, you know, God doesn't want us to mix races and stuff. Well, then he would have made it so that people of different backgrounds couldn't have kids. That's my belief, okay? Because that's the only thing that makes sense. Like if if you try to mix a goat and a monkey, they can't have kids, okay? So funny enough, a goat's offspring are called kids anyway, but they can't have kids, right? Or I think it's a goat's offspring. Anyway, and the point is that, or is it a sheep? I think it's a goat. Anyway, point is though, is that they can't have offspring, okay? But a person from Sudan and a person from China can get together and have offspring. A person from Ethiopia and a person from Norway can have offspring, okay? We're all human beings here. So it's absurd. You know, go where you're celebrated and not tolerated, and let's get into it, okay? So I wrote down, I've been writing down my topics, and I wrote down, hold on, Black men bashing, I think was what I mean, bashing Black women. I wrote down the dude's name who did it. He's a guy on my friends list, okay? And I said something like leading to interracial dating. I don't know how much I'm going to talk about interracial dating, but I do want to talk about this point. So here's what happened. One day I am minding my own business a few days ago, and I get on my Facebook, which I do a lot, and this guy who added me as a friend many years ago, never met the dude in person. He lives in the Houston area like I do. He gets a lot of people engaging with his posts. He mostly posts anime stuff and stuff about like hero movies and all that kind of stuff, whatever. Anyway, he out of the blue makes a very damning post about that statue that was put in, is that Times Square in New York City. He makes a very damning post about it. Now, I don't like that statue either. I signed the change.org, I think it was, petition against it. I find it offensive. It's not based on a specific Black woman. It was made allegedly, well, it was made by okay, this is what I can't confirm. He looks Black, but he's said to be a biracial Black man who is married to a non-Black woman who made a statue of a Black woman to represent going against, I guess, white supremacy. Dude, why didn't you get a fucking a fucking Black dude to stand up against white men and white supremacy? Why are you picking a Black woman? A white man would never use a white queen, quote unquote, to fight against, you know, some kind of thing that didn't have anything to do with femininity, that was just meant to represent protecting the whole or what have you. And Black men, unfortunately, have done this with Black women. Chrissy, please look up Chrissy. She is a anti-colorism, what do you call that? activist, an anti-colorism activist. She is a pro-Black woman. Please look her up. She has gone into this in detail. Please go. She can explain it better than I can, why we find this image extremely offensive. So please go check that out so that you can make more sense of this if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Pardon my language. I'm going to stop cursing so much in my videos moving forward. I'm going to try, okay? Because I know that's like trashy, but for some reason it makes me comfortable. But I know it's offensive, so I'm going to stop doing that so much. Anyway, point is that a lot of us Black women, we do not like that statue. Now, I'm going to come back to the Black dude, what he was saying or whatever. But before I do, I just want to say this about Black women and how we've reacted to it. So there are women like me, we find that image very offensive, especially because it's one thing if it were based on someone. Okay, if you're trying to shout out someone who is a real person and you're making the image in her likeness, that's not the case. This is literally how this man sees us, as a braless, weave-wearing, overweight, poorly dressed, got a shirt on that's too small for her, you know, appears to be of low social stature. That is how you see us? That's our representation? White men wouldn't do that to their women. Black men love to drag us through the fucking dirt, y'all. I'm sorry, and I'm not saying all Black men. Oh, no, it's okay. Whatever. But this is a real problem. This is a systemic issue. That's why Black women feel so unprotected. If we were being protected by the men that look like us, in general, we wouldn't feel that way. We feel that way because the men that look like us don't have our fucking backs, dude. I'm just saying. But anyway, that's another story. So, okay, I have seen people, and it crossed my mind what I'm about to say. But I'm going to tell you why it's wrong. I have seen people say, oh, some of the women who got a problem with that statue, have you looked in the mirror? I am bigger than the woman in that statue if she were scale to size. Oops. I'm sorry. My thing's letting me know my battery is low. If that woman was scale to size, I'm bigger than her. She wasn't that she was overweight, but she wasn't like ridiculously overweight, sloppy, quote unquote. I'm sloppy. Okay? I got a lot of gut. I'm grabbing on my gut right now. I'm not going to go through the trouble of standing up again. Y'all have already seen my body. But, you know, I'm a big one, you know. Almost 300 pounds, okay, at 5'6". I am bigger than the girl in that statue. So why am I offended by it? Because it's for the same reason that when I did that video where I was explaining about I'm tired of Black women being the fucking test dummies for keeping it real, but nobody else is held to that standard of keeping it real, of having to, you know, pick our quote unquote average or worse to represent the collective. Meanwhile, other groups are being represented by their best, and then wondering why we're at the bottom of the food chain. I wonder why, because who are we allowed to aspire to? You know, we're like, okay, I am going to do a video which kind of touches on this about weight shaming. And I want to say that I'm not going to get into it, except to say this. We should all aspire to be our healthiest self, our best self. And I feel like with Black people, we are not pushed to be the best version of ourselves, and especially Black women. And it's very sad. And we are offended by that. You know, I'm actively trying to lose weight. It's not like I'm resting in my obesity, like, okay, I'm almost 300 pounds and I just accept it, y'all. No. I'm literally every freaking day, I am walking over 10,000 steps a day to try to get myself slimmed down. There are so many foods I say, no, because I want to get my weight down. By the way, nobody asked, but I just happen to have this book next to me. It says, never give up because Great things take time. Weight loss journal for women. Anyway, got this from Amazon. No, I'm not selling anything. I'm not getting anything for this. I bought this, I don't know how long ago. But I just want to read something kind of cool to you guys. Okay, right here, I have my weight. Okay, wait a second. It has the date. It says start date 11/28/2023. So that was nearly about, what would that be? A year and a half ago? Okay. And it says start weight 322.4. 322.4 start weight. Okay. Now that's not my actual start weight. That's just, you know, when I got this little journal thing. Okay. If you can see it, right? Y'all, I'm under 300 pounds now. Now, if you've been following my content, you already know I've been under 300 pounds for nearly 2 months, okay? But it's not the point. It's the fact that I'm under 300 pounds now. From when I wrote in this thing, I've lost around 25 or so pounds, give or take. You know what I mean? Somewhere in that vicinity. How awesome is that? Yeah, it's been a year and a half that it took me, but imagine if I was 25 pounds up in a year and a half. I'm saying this to say I am working on me. Now, again, if you are someone who you're not trying to fix what's going on, then I'm going to kind of look at you sideways, kind of like someone who complains about politics but refuses to vote, right? You know, but I am actively working on myself. I don't think this is acceptable. And, you know, I don't think that we should be promoting this to the world or to fellow Black females. And by females, I just mean girls and women. That being obese is the way to be. And they do that shit to Black women and then wonder why we're the fattest group in the country, allegedly. And by the way, where are the fat white women? There's tons of fat white women. 2/3 of the American population, I'm glad that Chrissy said this because I've said this before myself, so I'm glad that she said this. 2/3 of the American population is overweight. The majority of we're not even the number one minority as Black people. And yet, okay, you rarely get to see a fat young white woman, knowing there are plenty of them. But I'm talking about in terms of representation on television and the media, they don't like to show off fat young white women. Honey Boo Boo was an anomaly, even though in real life there's a lot of Honey Boo Boos and Junes, okay? But you would never know it if you only watch television. They make it out like that's a rare minority, and it absolutely is not. Go ask a doctor. So anyway, end rant. But I was going to say, so no, I don't accept that quote-unquote representation. I don't. So go yourself if you think that that's okay. That's me controlling my mouth. Anyway, but no, I do not accept that. Okay, so no. Some of us are fat, by the way, because we are repeating horrible eating cycles. Really quickly, I just want to say this, and this goes across color lines or even gender, whatever. As I've mentioned in the past, I have followed so many women who namely have had weight loss surgery. I followed natural weight loss too, but let's just talk about weight loss surgery for a second. And some of them will have children. You will see their kids, and their kids are really overweight because mama and papa, but let's be honest, it's usually on mama, didn't know how to eat right. And then she got weight loss surgery in a lot of cases, and she started to eat a certain way, these little tiny portions of food, but her kids who never learned how to eat right because she didn't know how to eat right were eating these big portions. So then when she loses all this weight, her little kids are damn near her weight. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? If you follow like some of these weight loss people and they have children, and it's not all the time, but I've seen this time after time because they never truly learn how to feed their kids, and the kids don't learn how to eat, and so they're eating the super unhealthy stuff, and mama done got skinny because she had weight loss surgery, but the kids are severely overweight. That's a real thing. So, some of us are overweight because we never learned how to eat right, and that's not our parents' fault, but that is our burden. You know what I mean? So yeah, just to put that out there, so it's not about like, I don't know, if somebody wants to be like, oh, it's your fault that you're fat. Yes, it was my fault that I was fat at 8 years old, and that it just continued throughout my life. Now I can do something about it as a grown-ass woman, namely. I can do something about it. But, when I was a kid, you expect me to do something about it? Come on, y'all. Stop being jerks, keep it real. So anyway, back to the point though. I'm sorry, I digress. I was going to say, and by the way, those fingers were not just for everybody. They were for people who were like, oh, it's your fault that you're fat. No, it's my responsibility that I'm fat, but don't say it's my fault that I'm fat when you don't know my situation, okay? Don't do that. But anyway, let's move on from there. Okay, so why am I bringing this up? Oh yeah, about no, I do not accept that representation. It's so many images that they could have used, and also, why are you using it? Stop. And especially because it's another slap in the face also to Black women, because a lot of Black women have stated, we are in our rest area, our rest era. I almost called it area. We're in our rest era. Stop picking us to be these social justice warriors when for our actual causes you don't have our backs, and so on and so forth, whatever. That's what a lot of Black women have been saying as a collective. A lot of us have been saying that. Regardless of how you feel about it, it is what it is. Just respect it. It's not our jobs to go and mule for everybody. I agree with that. So anyway, it's offensive in that regard too, because it's like you're trying to pull us back into being, your foot soldiers, and we're saying, no, leave us out of it. Okay, we're just trying to survive. Leave us out of it and thrive. But anyway, so, okay. That's to all the people who are like, oh, well, you look like that. That's how you look, sis. Okay, so you're going to say Kamala looks like that? You want to tell Kamala she looks like that? You want to tell Halle Berry she looks like that? Beyonce? Beyonce! You want to tell Beyonce she looks like that? Shut up. Anyway, not all Black women look like that. Shut up. And we said no, regardless. Even if you think that that's an accurate picture, we said no, so stop. Anyway, next, about this Black man. So, he will remain nameless, but he's turned himself into a mini social media personality, this guy. And like I said, he's on my friends list. He added me. He's been saying some out-of-pocket things for quite some time, but I find him, sometimes I find his views, namely regarding entertainment, interesting more so than politically or socially or whatever. And I do think he's got problems with women and stuff, and whatever. It is what it is. And by the way, he's formerly overweight, but he ended up losing a lot of weight himself and stuff, so that's cool. And anyway, about him is that he had condemned the statue, and he was the first person I saw posted, and he had condemned it, but he attacked Black women. He was condemning it, but making it like it was our fault that it even existed, and was you guys, I want to, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna go get my phone, because I want to read what he said, y'all, okay? So, sorry you guys see my backseat background. Sorry. I'll be right back. I want to read this accurately, because it pissed me off. So let me find my phone. All right. Howdy. All right. Let me go to, Oh, someone texted me. Who? Oh, okay. Anyway, let me... Hold on, I'm sorry, because I just want to get this right since I'm talking about it. Come on. Trying to go to Facebook. I mean, if you find this post, I'm not trying to send you after this dude or anything. I just want to read what this says. Aw, thank you for the love. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, this is... Somebody called me a Karen. I'm so touched, thanks. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm so goofy. I'm like over here looking at stuff, so... All right, found old boy. Let me find the post that he was talking about. Okay, please let me find it. It's not that old. He posts so much stuff. I found it. Yes, praise Lord, I found it. Okay, this is what he said. Hold on. He said, please don't find this man, because I ain't trying to start shit. That's why I'm not naming him, okay? Don't find him. Anyway, it says, so this what y'all doing now? Let's make a statue of an overweight, sassy-looking, weave-wearing black woman. Great job. I truly thought this was fake at first. Perfect example of how society views are. The truth is, this is a stereotype that you see walking around almost every day. But y'all don't want to change, though. Shaking my effing head. Black women have the highest prevalence of obesity among adult women in the United States. 100. That's what he said. And... someone commented and said, and the billboard man has to stare at her all day. And then it's got 2 laughs. And he says, laughing my A off. He is looking like, oh, hell nah, just take me down. Poor guy. That's what the original poster said. And it says, she ain't fat, bruh. She just a little thick. That's what a man said on here. And it says, oh, sure she is. Sound just like how they be trying to explain themselves. Girls, when are y'all gonna stop giving up the poon to men like this? Stop it. Okay. Y'all, and I have to take off my glasses, not just because I think I look cuter, which I do, but also because the glare, you know, if you notice, I get a lot of glare, you know, on my glasses. So anyway, stop. This man has a child by a black woman. Stop letting these MFs have access to you. Stop. And the whole thing of like, oh, well, it's not all of them are like that and blah, blah, blah. Too many of them are. Too many of them are. Let me clarify. Too many of them are for you to make yourself exclusive to them in a way that, mind you, they do not do for us. I've had this argument online. I had this argument on the previous endeavor that I was a part of. You know, y'all about to make me lose my mind up in here. He can feel whatever way he wants to feel. He can. And even him tearing us down in and of itself, I don't care. I don't care. And I gotta care. I gotta respect you to care about your opinion. But what does break my heart is that beautiful women will spread their legs for men who think this of them. Like, they don't like us. And by they, I'm not referring to each and every black man. I'm not. But there are so many who don't like us like that. But you like, I don't want no pink pain. I can't get down with no pink pain. But he doesn't feel that way about pink. You know what I'm saying? Black women, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Stop letting these men play in your effing face. I mean, this man, listen, I ain't invested in this man. He's just, to me, an anime guy who, like, makes funny, posts about movies and all that kind of stuff. I ain't looking, like, I don't, okay, but this is what he thinks of me. This is what he thinks of you. And it's a lot more than you think. I am in a black anime group. And I see men like him all the time. I think they call them incels or something. Red pillars. All these loser dudes that think like this. And meanwhile, it's like, protect our kings. I only want, if it ain't black, I don't want it. And da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Sidebar. I never saw the movie Sinners. I'm sure I'm going to offend somebody if you're into that movie. But I saw enough to be like, hell to the nah, when I saw who was representing me as a black woman versus the less than black representation of Haley Steinfeld, or however you say her name, okay, who I like her very much. I loved her from True Grit. That's my girl. But... and sidebar, I want to say this about her. It is so funny. Quick story. Again, never saw the movie. I've seen a lot of commentary on it. I get the gist of it. But about Haley, many years ago, she was in a movie called True Grit, which, let me see when True Grit came out. She was a kid at the time. She was, I want to say, like 14 years old. And I was like, my mom and I, we went to go see that movie together. And I was like, this girl is amazing. Okay, it came out in 2010. So wait, what time in 2010? Cast. Okay, Haley Steinfeld. Yeah, that is her name. Okay, who played Maddie Ross. Okay, she was the female lead. And anyway, how old is this young lady? She's 28 years old. She was born in 96. So, I'm 14 years her junior, or not her junior, her senior. Yeah, I'm 14 years her junior. Anyway, but yeah, about this, lovely young lady, okay, adore her. Do you know that when we were in the movie theater, my mom and I were looking at her, not only were we impressed with her acting, but black people have this thing. Black people and people in the LGBTQIA+ have this thing sometimes, but namely talk about black people. Okay, you know, you've heard of gaydar, right? By the way, I'm not referring to anything to do with her sexuality, just for the record, but you guys have heard of gaydar, right? Where sometimes people who are on the queer side, quote unquote, and I mean queer in a positive way, side can kind of tell when somebody else is on the queer side or whatever, gaydar. Well, black people have that really bad, where we can look at a lot of people that are white passing and we could be like, I think you got a little black in you. Like, it's just somehow we can tell, okay? Not always, you know, but we will, like, you know, well, anyway, point is, when my mom and I first looked at this girl, at the time she was a little girl, she's 28 now, that was 15 years ago, so she was actually about 13. We thought she was 14. She was about 13 years old. We looked at her and we were like, she looks like she's part black. Like something about her. I can't tell you what it was about her, but it was something we're like, she looks like she's part black. Do you guys know that I was very big into the internet. I've been a big internet head since late 2000, okay? So nearly 25 years I've been heavy into the internet. When we got home, I looked up her ethnicity, and as much information is available now was not available at that time, right? But I remember, I want to say it was like her publicist or agent or somebody called themselves defending her by saying that she is not part black. They said something like she has a little touch of Egyptian in her. I'm not kidding. Like they fought those claims that this girl was part black. Like it was like somebody said that she raped somebody or something. You know what I mean? They really fought those claims. And in retrospect, I want to say this. I think that's effed up, but I also understand because once you are categorized as black, it is very difficult to be considered for mainstream roles that you would have been considered for otherwise, okay? And even if, and it's also unfair that if you are considered to be black in appearance, right, then you won't get a lot of what they call the ingenue roles. You're not going to get a lot of main character roles. I have, again, going back to the whole race thing and obesity and all that kind of stuff, it is so, oh my gosh. I took a screenshot. I don't think it's on this phone, but that show Good Girls, okay? I never saw the show Good Girls. It may be well written. I don't know. But what I know is I took a screenshot because it popped up for me. I was looking for one thing and then that popped up, right? For some reason, because I don't, I'm not into that. What I knew was that they had the beautiful Christina Hendricks, who I am familiar with her from Mad Men, and another white female. And both of them are attractive. Christina being the more attractive one, but they're both nice looking women, or more striking one, we'll put it like that, whatever, but they're both nice looking women. And then you have this black woman with an obvious bad wig on, and as far away from the spectrum of attractive, it's like, I mean, she's not an ugly woman, but by Hollywood standards, I'm just going to say it, she is. By Hollywood standards. We're not talking about real life people. If she were a regular woman walking down the street and I'd be like, ugh, she ugly. No. But by Hollywood standards, it's just like if you're a size 12 in Hollywood, you're a whale in Hollywood. In real life, that's smaller than the average American woman. So everything is relative. But when you, I've been using the term cultivate a lot, so bear with me. But when you cultivate a bunch of people that are considered to be better looking than the majority of society, and then you stick these unattractive black women to stand next to these people, that's intentional. They're not doing that as an act, like, oh no, we're just trying to give a sister a chance. You can give a beautiful sister a chance. You can give the Stacey Dashes, the Lark Verhees, the Halle Berrys, the Lupitas, that you can give those women a chance. And I know some of these people are like, long out of fashion and stuff, like a Stacey Dash. Nobody's thinking about her like that anymore, but you understand, she's still a beautiful woman. But I mean, her time as, a little starlet is gone for the most part. But I'm just saying, you can pick a beautiful black woman, but y'all don't want to do that. It's like you're so scared of showing a traditionally beautiful black woman next to a traditionally beautiful white woman. It is fun to me. That's racist as shit. And I'm tired of it, but I just want to get that out of the way. But anyway, I forget how I even got on the topic, but what I will tell you is, first off, if you're a black woman and dating interracially, or you're interested in it, they say there are more men outside of the black race who are interested in black women than there are actual black women on this planet, certainly in the USA. Certainly in the USA, okay? So yes, you can date interracially. One thing that I think works against black women is that we are so public to denounce interracial dating and declare our loyalty to Black men who meanwhile cannot wait to get into white women is wild, okay? But now I'm a big believer that, you know, if a man is scared to approach you, that's a bad sign, right? But if I am of the impression that I'm not going to get anywhere, trying to put myself in a man's position, you know, let's say I'm a Hispanic guy and I'm aware that in general, Black women only want to date Black men. And so I really want to ask, you know, this Black girl, Cynthia, at my job out, but I don't want to crash and burn because, you know, I'm scared Cynthia only wants Tyrone. So I'm not going to ask Cynthia out because I just don't want to, you know, I mean, some guys will still do it, but a lot of guys, if they know for a fact they don't have a chance, they're not going to do it. You know, some guys, like if they, you know what I mean? If they know for a fact, there's a lot of beautiful women who say, oh, I don't get asked out very much. And, you know, you look at them and you're like, you're lying. Like, but no, I've heard that too many times to think that they're all lying. Some don't, because some men know, what would she want with me? I work at McDonald's. I live with my mother. And she's a drop-dead gorgeous girl from an upper class background. What would she want with me? So they don't even waste their time. It's not that they don't want her. They'd have her if they could, but they know that they, you know, that she's out of their league. And because Black women have screamed so loud that we are not interested in interracial dating as a collective, then that's why a lot of men outside of our race don't take the chance. So we do ourselves such a disservice, and then Black men convince us that nobody else wants us when that's not true. You know, the meanest people to us are Black men. It's wild. Like, as far as, you know, from a racial standpoint, I have, like, all the comments I have seen are just wild. You know, there's this song, by the way, now this is by a Black woman, but probably shadow written by a Black man. That Glorilla song that I like middle finger to the haters. Like, I have, you know, I'm using that in a couple of videos that I've done, little clips I've done, one on TikTok and on here as well. Anyway, I love that song, right? But you listen to the song and she keeps talking about being red over and over again. And she keeps mentioning being red because that's code, you know, because Black men love lighter skinned women and being red is considered to be lighter skinned, you know? So she keeps emphasizing that she's red. Meanwhile, Glorilla has one of the most stereotypically Western African Black noses I've ever seen in my damn life, okay? No tea, no shade on a woman that is deemed attractive in our society, which you know, I'll be honest, you know, I was like shocked that she didn't get it chopped up like I would expect, because that's oftentimes what happens. And so I was shocked that she didn't, and I shout her out for that. But maybe a part of why she didn't is because she feels like, well, I'm light skinned to go with this traditionally West African nose, you know what I mean? But yeah, and again, that song, she keeps emphasizing being red. You know, and again, Black men love that shit. They eat that up with a spoon. What's his name? Lil Wayne, who is a dark-skinned Black man, said in a song something like, that bitch would be bad red. Like, in other words, if she had a lighter skin tone, she'd be hotter or something. I'm exhausted with them, and I'm just wondering when y'all gonna be exhausted too. And not coming from a place of hate, but just like, you know, you're hitting your head against the wall. And I'm not telling you not to date Black men at all, but to make yourself exclusively available to a group of men that collectively do not hold you down like that is just crazy to me. Sorry, my thing just keeps popping up to let me know my battery is low, so I'm gonna go. But yeah, just thought I'd share that. Sorry for the ramble. I kind of got caught up talking about different things, but the long and short of it is, I'm glad that statue's coming down in June. The guy who made it, I don't believe that he had Black women's best interests at heart. And it's funny because I should comment on the post, but I don't think I will. But Black women are not the ones who conceived that statue. It was a Black man. He may be a biracial Black man, but, you know, he identifies as a Black man. You know, he's, you know, if he gets pulled over by the cops, they're not going to say this biracial man. They're going to think of him as a Black man. So, you know, just saying. But anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.